Howdy folks, you're watching Deuce, and today we're going to take a look at the new TT10 flashlight from ThurNite. Now I have a ton of flashlights, I've reviewed a ton of flashlights, so in order for me to bother reviewing a flashlight, it has to be something special, something different from the average flashlight out there, average high-end flashlight. First of all, what comes in a box? Well, you get your instruction manual, of course. You get the flashlight itself, of course. You get the big ol' 5,000 milliamp hour battery here. It's a 21700 battery. You get a bunch of odds and ends and a lanyard right there. This is extra rubber buttons, just in case you wear out your rubber button here. You can replace that. You have a key ring. You have another charge cable. Oh, the charge cable comes with this, and also a charge cover, a charging port cover there. And of course a holster, which I never used. I very, very rarely use the holsters that come in here. Now let's take a look at all the technical details here. The turbo mode, of course it has turbo and then like a high, medium, low, and firefly mode, just like all the other high-end flashlights out there. The turbo mode, the highest brightness it can produce is 3,700 lumens, 3,700 lumens. It's very bright. Now, of course, when I turn this on, the shutter is going to go way, way down and make everything else dark, so then it doesn't blind out you guys. But you can see it is very bright. Of course, everything else is dark here. And if we turn on, now that was from the turbo mode button in the back, which we will get to here in a second, which is why this flashlight is super special. So we have, you hold it down and you go through low, medium, and high there. Now high is 1100 lumens. Actually, no wait, high is 1750 lumens. That holds on to that amount of light for about 3 minutes or so. I think it's heat sensitive. So it stays up there until it gets too hot and then lowers down to a safe 1100 lumens to keep everything inside from melting. Because this is a pretty powerful flashlight. These are all very powerful flashlights for the most part. When you get well over 1,000 lumens, there has to be some mitigating technology inside to keep it from damaging itself from heat, because it will generate a lot of heat. The turbo mode stays at turbo for about 2 minutes or so and then cycles down to 1100 lumens as well. And then lower out there is 28 lumens. Then you go up to medium, which is 300. And then of course, high is 1750. You turn it off and you hold down the side button there and you get firefly mode, which is just barely enough to read a map. It is half a lumen. Of course, that half a lumen will last you, how long is it? 57 days, 2 months. Now what's really cool is if you want to lock down the flashlight, you're going to have it in your backpack, in your pocket, in your luggage, what have you. You can turn it completely off to where the buttons don't do anything by turning it on firefly mode first, and you hold down the mode button. I cannot get it turned on again until I hold down the mode button again until it comes back on. Boop, there we go. And now we're back in business. Now, what's super special about this flashlight is it has 2 mode buttons on the very end. You can barely see that right now, but here's a close-up right here. You got 2 different mode buttons, and they're at different heights, different levels, which is also very, very cool. And the reason why it's cool is that it makes this flashlight the perfect budget option for a security guard. When you're in a security guard situation where you need to blind somebody, the best way to do that is by strobe light. And all these high-end flashlights have a strobe light option, but it takes a while to get there. When you are in dire circumstances, when you are being basically attacked by somebody and you are in a security guard situation that does not offer the protection of a firearm, then you need to have something that will blind your subject. And a normal flashlight, you have to go through the menu. There are several different versions of flashlights that have different ways to get the strobe light. And this one, you have to wait for a little while for that to turn to strobe light. Whereas this, you've got 2 buttons. So the big button there goes straight to turbo, regardless of what mode the side button is on. But there's also a smaller button there that's kind of recessed and it's a little bit different shape as well. It's oval versus circular. And that goes straight to strobe light, which of course, if you have seizures, don't watch this channel at all pretty much. But here we go. It goes straight to strobe light. Boom. So there's no there's no delay, there's no question. And what I like is since they're right next to each other, you can just take your thumb, put it over both of those buttons, and just press down. You will have the strobe light as long as you're pressing down, and you let go, and you're on turbo mode. So you disorient them, and then you blind them with turbo mode, 3700 lumens. That is the perfect recipe to stop someone in their tracks, or at least keep them from being able to identify exactly where this light is coming from. They will be blinded. If you've never had 3700 lumens straight to your face, it is not a pleasant thing. Like always, I did all my normal testing. I put this underwater, turned it on turbo mode, dumped it underwater, and it stayed on turbo mode, or at least turbo mode to high mode. It did cycle down eventually, but it stayed on high mode all the way for over an hour, like an hour and 5 minutes or so, until it was the battery was completely exhausted. And then I took that exhausted battery, and it took just a shade over 3 hours to completely charge it. As with all my reviews, I always identify the good and the bad of every product. There is no such thing as a perfect product, or at least I don't believe so. So what is the bad? I've already talked about the good. I've talked about a lot of good about this flashlight. What is the bad? Well, one thing is, if you look closely, there is a charging identifier right there in the mode button, and it blinks blue. But every couple of seconds, it will blink blue. For me at least, that makes this a hard sell for a nightstand flashlight. Unless, of course, you cover that up with some tape or something, which, of course, you could very easily do. After I did all that testing, the water testing, the charging testing, I had a little bit of an issue with turning the flashlight back on. Now, I can't remember if I have footage of this or not, but what was happening was I was turning it on from the turbo mode button in the back, and the light, instead of being a solid full power light, it was about half the brightness, and it was kind of dimming in and out, kind of fluttering on and off a little bit, almost like a short circuit. So I basically exercised that button a little bit, and it went away. I don't know if it was a water intrusion issue, because I took it apart, I looked very closely for any kind of water, saw nothing. So I don't think it was water, but I do think it was that big old battery that had been completely drained, because lithium-ion batteries do not like to be completely drained to zero and then recharged immediately back to full power, like I do on all my tests. That's very severe for these batteries. I would like to see a Kydex holster, a kind of a clip-on Kydex holster. So let's take a look at some of the Amazon reviews, because this flashlight has been out since August or so. One person says it needs some work, that sometimes the tail cap swish does not work until you play with the tail cap. That is that's not something that I've had a problem with, but others have apparently. At the time of filming, there are 15 reviews on Amazon right now for this flashlight, and 3 of them state that they got a dud flashlight, a flashlight that did not work out of the box straight from the factory. But one of those mentions a battery type that is not intended for this flashlight. So I don't know if there was some confusion with that, but the other 2 may be legit, probably are legitimate issues and gripes. So there may be a quality control issue from the get-go, because a brand new product can have some issues. There may be some issues, there may not, I don't know, but the one I have here is fairly rock solid. These flashlights are priced at $100 on Amazon, and that of course includes the battery, the charging cord, and all the other good stuff right here. That is still a pricey flashlight, but it does provide a service that most flashlights, even high-end flashlights, do not do, which is the strobe plus turbo mode all in one click in the back. Well guys, that's it for me today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go subscribe. A lot more is on the way. If you want to stay on Deuce and Guns channel, go ahead and click on one of these 2 videos right over here, and that would keep you watching away. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or show it is, leave that in the comment box of the video, and you guys have a great day. See ya!